Hey guys, um, I've been having issues with my Wi-Fi, but I still wanted to get a tutorial out tonight, just to keep things consistent. And this should be where we left off last time. You'll notice that the assets folder, it is organized. Uh, if I haven't said this before, I would like to reiterate, or I would like to make it known. Please organize your asset folder. You you will be glad you did. Because if you're trying to find, hey, where's that coin sprite where's that coin prefab that I made a long time ago? And I want everything to be consistent. And I don't want to have to remake a coin sprite and redo all this animation and redo everything. I can't find it. Every single asset in this game is in this one folder. It's There is a search bar, but like, please, please organize your asset folder. Okay. Now that that has been said, um, things I did add. I have these two. I added these just by going into Paint, drawing them really quick, and then saving them to this folder. And when Unity realized that there was new stuff in this folder, it gave them these metadata. It's real simple. These are PNGs. They look kind of bad, but like, I did not claim to be an artist. Yeah. Um, Shoot. Tendy didn't see that. Um, okay, so right now we have the player, we've got some coins, and a platform. The player can jump around, but that's really boring. We want to have multiple levels. So, easiest way I can think to do that, or no, not the easiest way, the only way I can think to do that is by having scenes. No, technically you don't need to make multiple scenes, but the process by which you would do that is so ridiculous. It's kind of like that one person who's like, I bet I can make this program without using an array in like your first Java programming class. And just use an array. Please. Please, guy. Oh, and not like he'll use an array list. He'll just like store everything as ints and like cycle through ints. It's like, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Moving away from that tangent, scenes. Easiest way to think about this is they are like levels in a game. So currently we have like this starting level. It's gonna be the only level, or maybe not. I don't know. I I'm not trying to make like a full game. I'm just trying to get the basic concepts across. Things I'm gonna want. I want a scene or a new level that is the end. Hopefully that makes sense. Like, when you win the game, you get like an end screen. Tells you that the game's over. Another thing I'm gonna want. I want a menu. Like a title menu, not like a. Well, we might show you how to make like a player like an in-game menu for like adjusting settings and whatnot. But you know, some basic stuff that you want. You don't just want the game to start automatically. You got like the title screen and then you got the ending. Um, Pretty simple. Other things I'd like to do. How do you win this game? So I'm gonna real quick create a 2D object, sprite capsule. I'm thinking, hey, that looks kind of like a portal or a door or whatever. I really don't care. Portal. I'm gonna tag it. Portal. So like if I were to make say 10 levels or whatever, and you have to like go through these levels and I don't know, maybe solve puzzles or whatnot. You're trying to get to the portal. So, the end goal or whatnot. I'm gonna give it a Capsule Collider. Use that, make sure it works. And I'd like it to be a trigger, like the player can in fact enter it, and it triggers an event instead of like stopping you from moving. So trigger, and then that's a prefab because I want it to be here um much time. So now we've got everything in the game ready to go, but the problem is it doesn't work yet. So I'm going to go into the player movement script, which I have open here, and we need to add stuff to make it actually work. Actually, real quick, file, build settings. So I've been messing around in this file, figuring things out for this tutorial. We have level 1, which is the scene we're currently in, and apparently it already added in the scene end, but we don't have the menu, so I'm going to show. Unity doesn't automatically add in scenes. Normally it adds them in like this, or it doesn't put them on the list at all. So what you do is you open up the scene you want to open, and then you click that little tick box, and it gives it an index, and then its name is listed here. So scenes level 1 is the name of this level. To show you how to add a scene, I'm going to go here, open up the menu, and then we're going to go back to File, Build Settings, Add Open Scenes, and since this is the first one in the list, I want it to be 0. And hopefully that makes sense. If I wanted to like export this game and have it like go out, uh, like publish it, post it on the website or whatnot, like here's my game. This is also where I would go for that. I'd click this to figure out what I want it built to. Like if I wanted it to go onto Android phones, that's how I do that. Or on a website. Or for this. You could also get other things to build to. Make sure you have the module um, installed and ready for that, and then you'd click the build. That's how you export the game, but we're not doing that yet. It's nowhere near ready for that. Going back to level 1. Okay, so we got this player, and there's a portal. So we're going to define what happens when we enter the portal by using onTrigger enter 2D. It's going to be pretty similar to when we enter the coin, so I don't mind copying and pasting from myself. So if we enter the portal, please don't mess with the coins collected. Scene change. This is just change. Just putting out debug commands just to let me know that things are in fact happening. Other things we want, scene. Actually, have I added that in yet? No, I haven't. So Unity knows that it has build settings, and the way that it keeps track of this is through an item called the SceneManager. It's a game object, kind of, but not one that we can interact with. So, or not one that we could interact with through this. We have to interact with it. Like, it's not a direct thing that you can, like, open up in the inspector. It's something you look at through the build settings and by clicking on these. But to access it through a script, we need to import a new folder. So using Unity engine.scene manager management This will allow us to access the SceneManager and mess with all of that. So when we enter the portal, scene change, and now SceneManager is the name of that item, and it has a method load script. And there are two main ways you can interact with that. The first one is you can, load script takes one of two parameters. It either takes in the string name or it takes in the int index. So if I wanted it to load up the end, I could put in end. Not script, scene. There we go. And now that should work. If I hit play, I can get a coin, and if I enter the portal, it goes to nothing because we didn't do anything with this yet. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to get that asset that I made in Paint earlier. I'm just going to drag it in. Wow, fancy. And now I'm going to go back. Please save. Don't delete the changes. Just to make sure that it was there that we were going. Get a coin. Wow. If I go back to the build settings, I can see that the index for that is 2. So another way that I could go there is I could say load scene 2. So if I hit play, and get a coin. There, we still go to the end. And this is fine and all, but with the way that it's currently written, I would have to write a new script for every single scene if I had like 10 levels or 50 levels, or something ridiculous like that. I don't want to have to go through and write all of that. So scene manager dot get active scene. This is a method that the scene manager has that will return the scene, and then build index is a property that a scene has when it's added to the builds to the scene manager through the build settings. It gets the index, and that's a property, so it's not a method. So this way, it gets the current scene that we're looking at, and it gets its build index. It adds 1 to it. So if I were going through multiple scenes, it would always take me to the next one in the build index up until we get to the end. And that makes things run a little bit more smoothly. Just to prove that that works, hit play. I can still get coins, and I go to the end. So this is important if you're going to have multiple scenes, but since I don't plan on having a bunch of levels, I'm just going to change it back to end. And one thing I'd like to point out is it doesn't matter in this game how many coins you get. So, like, yeah, a person could say, like, yeah, I got all the coins. That doesn't really do anything. You still get the same ending, which is boring. I want my actions to have consequences. So I'm going to create a new scene. And this scene is going to be the good end. So if you go through the game and you get all the coins, in this case it's just 3, really easy to get, then you can get to go to the good end. Who doesn't want that? So we're going to go to the good end, and we're going to add in the same end thing. It's pretty much the same. But, like, I want it to have a little bit more pizzazz. So I want it to have a material on it. That's going to make it look fancy. I want it to be blue. I like the color blue. And I don't really know what this means. From what I've heard from my graphic arts friends, you just kind of mess around with it until you get used to it. So, like, if I drag that on, that looks pretty bad. So I can go through and like, ooh, don't want that. You just kind of mess with it until you find something that you like. Um, there. That looks pretty nice. And I'm gonna save that. Yeah, that's what I want the end screen to look like. And this is for the good end. And now we're gonna go back to level 1. And one thing you might notice is, hey, we haven't added that into the script yet. You're right, haven't yet. So if points you collected is equal to 3, then we go to the good end. Else, you don't. Hopefully that makes sense. If you got all the coins, then you could make this a variable like max coins or something. I don't really feel the need in that. There were 3 coins. Um Okay, so now we gotta go back to the build settings and make sure that that is added in, otherwise we would get an error. Wait a second. Good. And that should be it. I'm gonna go ahead and hit play. And if I only get 1 coin and I go to the portal, I get the normal end. That's boring. I'm gonna go through. This player is moving really slowly. So since I am still in the project and I'm messing around with things, I can make the player a little bit faster in order to make this testing go faster. You might be saying, oh, Tor, that I don't want the player to be going 15 all the time. That makes my game too broken. Well, since I have this play button hit, Unity won't save the settings. So if I wanted to like mess around with the gravity, I don't have to like restart the game. And hitting that play button can take a while if you have a lot of stuff in the game. So like, it can take a while to like load up. So this is why we have these public variables, so we can mess with stuff real fast. And wow, I hit all the coins and I got the good end. Wow. Now let's make a main menu. I'm gonna go to the menu. And this isn't a scene. I'm gonna zoom out real quick. You might notice this. Uh, Unity has a UI already built in, and one thing that's real fun is I can just click button, and wow, this is what the menu looks like. And you see it already went in and added in these things. Thank you, Unity, for doing that. It was real good of you. Thanks. I was button to be in the middle. Be in the middle. And I want it to be big. Like 400 by 200. It's a big fat button. I'm gonna go to the materials. If you'll remember, this is a PNG. This thing here. So it's gonna go in source image. And you'll notice there's still that text there. Hit this button. I'm gonna delete it. I don't want it. I want my fancy graphic to do the talking for me. I could add a text back to that if I wanted to do that for some reason. I don't. You can clearly tell that that says play. Can't. I feel sorry for you. So, Right. You'll notice it has this on-click thing. I'm gonna click that. These are a list of things that it can do. Like the things that it will do when it's clicked. I'm gonna click editor and runtime. I know this is, I think this is something that Rain didn't do, or like forgot to click, and he had issues with like, oh well, it didn't actually switch over when he clicked the button, so he had to like have the debug.log. If you click that button, it'll do that here while we're messing with the project. And that is how you work smarter, not harder. So we got this, and now it's looking for a game object to tell it what to do when it's clicked. So I'm going to create an empty. It's going to be called empty because I'm real smart. And I'm going to make a script. Create C# script. This will be called play button. Believe it or not, I am very smart. Making that, clicking it, opening it. Woo, look at that. I don't need either of those. What I do need is a public void on click. What is that? That's a method that's going to tell us what to do when the button gets clicked. What's it going to do? Well, I'm going to import that SceneManager. Unity engine SceneManager. And we do that. SceneManager load scene. What scene are we going to load? The first one. That should hopefully make sense. And now we're going to go back here. Oh, that's a string, because that's the name. Scene management. You gotta remember all of that. Or you can have the documentation open up on your second monitor. Again, think smarter, not harder. So we got this empty game object, and I'm gonna add that play button script to the game object. Okay, so button, empty. I'm gonna scroll back down. So when it's clicked, throw that game object in there. And then here we can select a method that happens. So when it does that, we're going to go to the play button. We're going to call that on click. And I think when I click it, now we go to level 1. We've got a working menu. It works. Now, if I go, I get all my coins. I'm moving really slowly. I get the good ending. What do you know? We've got gameplay. We've got UI. We've got an end screen. We've got choices that matter. Look at all that. Look at all we've accomplished. Huzzah! I am sorry that my Wi-Fi wasn't working. Hopefully, this is pretty cool and you guys are excited. 'Cause oh boy, we're really approaching the point where I will not know where to go next. Stay tuned. And good night.